So my plan was as follows. I was going to go to the embassy, hire a driver, stop at an ATM, go to the American Embassy because I had an appointment with the notary services there. It didn't go exactly as planned, as things rarely do, and I spent a whole bunch of money. That's in a nutshell my story. Good morning. It's 4:45 in the morning. It's 4:49 in the morning, and I'm headed off to the U.S. Embassy today because I need a notary. And unlike in the U.S., which not that I expect it to be this way, but you go to the notary, you spend what, $1 in gas, you spend $2 on the notary, and you're done. Here, this has been a 6-week process trying to get this thing done, and I have to get it done because I'm going to go work at the Mayo Clinic in May as a consultant, and they need to know that I can work in the US legally. So I've asked them 3 times, can you please wait until I get to the States right before? And I understand why they can't, but at the same time, I'll give you my passport, I'll give you my driver's license, my birth certificate, my social security card, anything you need. Just don't make me spend $110, because that's how much it's going to be to get this thing notarized, because I have to pay the driver. And it's $50 to get notarized. Something notarized here. Which, why? Why? Because it's $2 in the US, and I understand you have me in a corner, but come on. Let's charge out of necessity and not out of, what would you say, not manipulation. Desperation. Anyway, our driver is around the corner. His name's Arturo. I appreciate him because whenever we need early morning pickups or like ridiculous pickups, like let's go to the airport, wait potentially 3 hours for our dog and then bring our dog home, he's there. Or we need to stop a bunch of places, he'll do it. So this will be the 3rd time that we have hired him, and it's gone great so far. So at this early hour, I've already released 1 spider back into the wild, and I have Diefenbaker right there walk into his bathroom around the corner, and we're about ready to go. So we'll see you in a few. All right, here we go. I know it's really dark. Woo! Uh-oh. That didn't sound good. Buenos dias.
Hola, buenos días.
Buenos días.
I have a door. You want to ride in the back or you join in front?
I'll come in the back.
Sure.
Gracias.
Bueno, y lo metiste.
Ahí campo.
Gracias.
está bien, ¿verdad?
We're at a toll. They started charging us as a bus when we were going through in this giant thing, the one that we rented. But before that, they charged us as a car.
So you see the volcano right there.
Oh.
It's the highest.
Okay.
And then immediately on the left,
Yeah.
it's the Iturrialba. You see a little bit of smoke coming out of it.
Oh yeah.
That's the one we have active at this time.
Okay. Cool. So this video is how to not get something notarized while living in a foreign country by a U.S. notary service. So as you saw, we were picked up by Arturo at a little bit before 5 in the morning. It's really dark out. And we stopped at the ATM on the way. We were almost to the embassy. We stopped at the ATM, which had about 6 ATMs in this room and a ton of trash. Like, it was so dirty in there. There's so much trash around. And I had to pay a $5 fee to get my cash out, which is a lot. Usually it's less than $3. It's like a $2.50 fee. So this is twice as much already that I usually have to spend to get my cash out, whether I'm in the States or in Costa Rica. And for the drive there, I had to pay $60, which I think is a lot, but it was at 5 a.m. So anyway, I had to do it. Oh, this is why I had to do it. Okay. So you know the I-9 form that says that I am a U.S. citizen and it's legal for me to work in the U.S.? Well, I'm going to go be a consultant at Mayo with their electronic health record go live in May with Epic, which I've been training and working with Epic for like 13 years now. And the money I'm going to make there in 2 weeks is going to be enough to pay my rent for the remainder of 2018. So I need to work this job. And everything's fine. They accepted me, they put me on the schedule, and they gave me till the end of March to get this I-9 form filled out and notarized. Usually you take your passport to the employer, they fill it out, and they look at your passport and they verify that everything is correct and you don't need to get it notarized. Or if I were in the States, I'd just go to the notary, pay $2, get it notarized, and I'd email it in. Well, earlier in the week, last week, my friend Sophia took me to a lawyer here in Costa Rica because I've asked the company that I'm going to be working for 3 times, can it please wait until I get to the US? And every time they say, no, we have to get everything in order before that, which I totally understand. But it doesn't make it any easier for me. So we go to the lawyer in Costa Rica here, and they wouldn't fill it out because they don't understand the form because it's in English. And then I was like, well, what if, we explain it to you? And they said, well, we really don't feel like we're comfortable filling out an official document from another government. So, and all along I was willing to go to the embassy, but I couldn't get an appointment. Their entire calendar for March was booked out. And I thought before I was online looking for an airline ticket to go back to the States to get this thing notarized, because that's going to be a lot cheaper than missing out on the money I'm going to make doing this job. So I thought, let me just look one more time to see if there's an appointment, and bingo, there was an appointment at 7:45 in the morning on Monday, March 26th. So I booked it, I talked to the driver, got it all arranged, and it was kind of last-ditch effort with the lawyer here in Costa Rica to try to do that, because that would be a lot cheaper than paying for the driver and going to the embassy, and what a pain. Then I found out they wouldn't do it. So anyway, 2 of the Salvadorans that are staying with me came along, and I'm so glad they were there. So we get in the car, we drive down to San Jose. It's about an hour drive. We stop at the ATM and pay my $5 fee to get my cash out, pay the $60 to the driver, and we get there an hour and 45 minutes early. All right, we're at the embassy.
Aquí es.
Sí. Vamos a esperar y esperar y esperar. She looked angry. Alright, so we're at the embassy. I need to be here at 7:45. It's 6 o'clock, so we're going to walk around and see what we can do. I know if we would have waited, you know, later in the day, traffic would have gotten worse. It's hard to predict. So I was fine being early, but maybe I could have left a little bit later than that. It's also Holy Week, so there's probably people on vacation. We're waiting. Esperamos.
Esperamos.
We're waiting.
We're waiting.
Uh-huh.
We're waiting.
Yeah. Anyway, across the street from the embassy is a little shopping plaza. And we go and walk around there, and inside the plaza, so it's an outdoor plaza, it's like a strip mall that's kind of in a U, and right in the middle they have these two little restaurants. And we sat and we ate at one of them. We're eating.
We're eating.
Uh-huh.
We're eating.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We found this little restaurant to eat and kill some time. And she listed everything she had, and I said, sure. So we're getting everything she has. Woo! Well, I didn't hear her say casamiento, which is the traditional Costa Rican breakfast with rice and beans, or pinto gallo, which is rice with some beans speckled in, means like painted rooster or something like that. And fried plátano, usually some cream. I can't remember what else. Okay, and a protein. I didn't hear her say casamiento. I just heard her listing sausage, egg, cheese. So I was like, I don't want just sausage. So I was like, can we just have them all together? And she got really happy, like really happy, and said, okay. So there's 3 of us eating this thing. Well, it was casamiento. We just had all of the options for proteins. So we got in a lot of protein. We ate really good. It was delicious. It was really good, actually. And there you go. So we ate breakfast with our food.
I am happy.
I am happy. Nina, always taking care of me, dabbing the grease off my breakfast sausage. And my eggs. Okay. So I have rice and beans, eggs, plátanos, and salchichón, which is breakfast sausage. Okay. Tiny bit of everything. The sausage tastes just like the kind my grandma used to make on the farm in Dakota. Very good. Very good.
Very good. Va a grabarse. Hermosa.
So that meal cost 6,000 colones,
Yeah.
which is less than $12. And I know what you're thinking, Melody, that was really fast math. Yeah, it was, but that's because there's a little trick. It's about 570 colones to every $1. So you move the decimal point to the left 3 times, and then you multiply by 2. It's really fast. So that would be 12, but then it's less than that, because that's about 500. That's exactly 500 colones per dollar. And this is 570. So it was probably $10 and change for 3 people.
Este cachimbón.
Este cachibón. Muy barato.
Sí, muy barato.
Y rica.
Sí.
It's this little shop inside this shopping center. And now we're gonna walk that way and go to a supermarket to kill some time because we still have about an hour before my appointment. We went to a table, we sat around, we waited for the grocery store to open, which it opens at 6:30 in the morning. We went in, we walked around a little bit. Nothing special. Nice grocery store, nothing special.
Solo.
Sí. And then we went back to our table and we waited for a little bit longer and then we go over to the embassy. And now we're walking to the embassy. So we'll see if these guys can come in with me. I don't know. And it's 7:15. My appointment's at 7:45. So hopefully they'll let me in a little bit early. It'd be nice to get it just done. We'll see. At about 7:15. Well, I was too early for my appointment, so they said, go away. So I left. Evidently, the embassy frowns upon being early to your appointments, and we can't even wait on the grass. So we have to wait here. The property of the embassy is there. We're waiting here. And they said, when you come back, come to this door, and you can't have your purse. You can't have, you can basically bring your phone in, which they ended up taking away, so I don't know why they said I could bring it in, and my papers and my passport and everything. So thankfully the Salvadorans were with me because they got to hold my purse. Now, what I forgot to mention was at the breakfast place, 2 ladies left their purses at the restaurant, like behind the counter, and we didn't know why at that time, but it turns out it's because you can't bring your purses into the embassy. So thankfully this restaurant was nice enough to hold these purses for these gals. So we go wait off of the embassy property, and we're waiting around, and before I know it, then there's this huge line at the door, and I'm like, why is it that they get to line up and I get sent away? So I go and I get in line, and they're like, no, you need to go over there. So I was in line with all the Ticos, and they put me in line then with the Americans, which I guess, well, it does make sense. So then this lady comes out and says in Spanish, oh, so all of you have 8 o'clock appointments. Well, the other Americans started talking, oh, okay, I have an 8 o'clock, blah, blah, blah. And they talked to her, and I said, oh, by the way, I have a 7:45. She's like, well, I can't let you in. I don't have this. I'm like, I'm just answering your question. You asked, you all have 8 o'clock appointments? I have a 7:45 appointment, so I'm not saying let me in. I'm just answering your question. Anyway, well, then she told this other girl that was there, hey, you can't bring your purse in. Well, she had this really huge, nice Coach bag. And so I told her, well, I ate breakfast across the street. There's a little restaurant right in the middle, and they'll hold your purse for you. Because I wasn't sure if she would hand her purse over to my friends. I said, or my friends are holding my purse. They can hold yours too. She's like, really? Okay. So I called them over. They came, they grabbed the purse, and they left the property again. They have really good hearing, by the way. Anyway, so she was so thankful for that, and I'm like, it's no skin off my teeth, no big deal. So then we get in, and we're waiting. So it's the group of Americans that were outside, now we're all inside. So you have to give up they took my pen away and my phone away, and I'm left with my documents and my passport, and I get my little key to get my stuff back at the end. So we go and we wait, and there's no clocks in there at all. So we're sitting there, we're waiting, and one by one, we have to wait for our names to be called. Actually, I was told, go sit in the red chairs. You're going to go to window number 3. When they call your name, go up. Window number 3 wasn't open when I got there, so I sat and I waited. Then window number 5 opened. She's like, what are you waiting for? And also then number 3 opened. And I said, oh, I'm waiting for notary service. And she's like, did you go to window number 3 yet? I'm like, no, because I was told to sit here until they called my name. Anyway, I went to window number 3 and told them, this is the form that I need filled out. Here, I have an email from my employer giving instructions. And that guy was like, okay, take a seat, wait for your name to be called. And I do. So in the meantime, Stephanie is her name, from outside, the one who my friends are holding the purse. she comes and says she's short money because she brought as much money as she thought she needed, and it ended up being more. It's $4. So I'm like, I have $4. No big deal. Here, have $4. But she wouldn't take it. And she's like, I'm just going to call my bank and have them transfer some more money over and whatever. And I was like, it's $4. It's okay. Like, take my $4. And she really didn't want to. So we sit there and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Whatever. So then they call my name. So I explained to this new guy, hey, I'm going to go work a job, and this is the paper that I need filled out. Here's the email. It's usually done by the employer. Or he said, no, this has to be done by the employer. I'm like, right. Or a representative, like a notary, which is what I made the appointment for. And he said, no, I can't fill this out. You're going to have to go home, type something up, and then come back and we'll notarize that what it is you type up. Say something along the lines of, you're a U.S. citizen, you have this passport with this number and whatever. And mind you, I couldn't get the appointment. I had to pay $60 to get there, so I told him all that. I'm like, this is my last resort. I tried a private notary. They weren't willing to do it because it wasn't in English. I spent $60 to get down here, and I need to work this job. I don't have money to come back because I need to work this job because I don't have money. So I need this form filled out or I can't work this job. And I was begging. I was begging. So anyway, he was like, all right, let me see what I can do. Oh, and I told him, I'm like, why do I have to leave and come back? Why can't I just take the back of my email, write something out, and you guys notarize that? So he said, okay, I'll go talk to somebody. So we talked to guy number 1 in an office. Then he left for a while, saw him reappear for a second, left for another while, went back to guy number 1, went back to somebody else, and he comes back to me. He says, all right, this is what we're going to do. I can't fill this out because it's a legal U.S. government form, and I can't act as a representative for the government if I am the government. So what we're going to do is have you fill out an affidavit. It's going to be a $50 fee, which is how much I was expecting for the notary anyway, so I was okay with that. It's a $50 fee, and hopefully they'll accept it. So go sit in the red chairs and wait for your name to be called, and you'll go up to box number 3. So I wait in the red chair. Well, meanwhile, Stephanie goes and she's telling the people, I'm going to have money transferred over, whatever. I take $5 out of my pocket. I'm like, just take the $5. Just don't worry about it. She's like, how can I pay you back? Let me get your bank information, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, really, it's not a big deal at all. So she was very insistent, which I understand because I don't like feeling like a leech, which is probably what she was feeling like, although I didn't see it that way. And I was like, what you can do for me is go to Facebook and like my Slayton's with Ampaveo group page, and go to YouTube, subscribe to my channel, and maybe share it with your friends. So she's like, I'll do it, write it down. So I wrote everything down. Well, then she goes back up with her extra $5, and they say, no, the fee, there's all these little fees that equal the one big fee that you end up paying. So you have to pay one of those entire little fees in one currency, and then you can pay the rest in your other currency. So we ended up currency exchanging ourselves. So that worked out well. And then she went up, talked to them, paid everything, came back, sat down, filled out her form, and I'm waiting for the people. And then she goes back up and they're like, no, you paid way too much money. So she got all her change back. And then she gave me back the money I had lent her and whatever. So that was done. Now I'm waiting to be called up. So I fill out the affidavit and hand it back in with my passport. Then I have to wait again. And I'm waiting for them to call my name. They finally call my name again. I have no idea how much time is passing. And meanwhile, while I'm standing at one of the windows at some point, somebody is finished up with his stuff, and he's like, let me provide some feedback. You take our phones away, and then you don't even give us clocks. We have to come in for an appointment. Aren't we supposed to be able to come to the embassy anytime, but we can't get even through the door without an appointment? Which I think he had some very valid points. Now, it has to work that way. Not the clock thing. Just give us a clock. That's weird. Next time I'll know I need to wear a watch. Next time I'll know that I won't bring a purse. So when you make the appointment, to me, it would make a whole lot of sense if they said, these are the only things that you can bring in. These things you can bring in, but they'll be put away and all that. So I'll wear a watch next time. So anyway, this guy's going off on the guy in box number 3. And I'm just kind of watching it all and smirking. So anyway, then I finally get called up for my final time. They signed and sealed the affidavit. And I tell Stephanie, hey, I'm going to be at the little table across the street in the shopping center. Follow the signs to the bathroom because the table's right outside the bathroom, and we'll be there with your purse. So I'm like, man, if I were her, I might be a little bit nervous because we didn't know how long it was going to take her to get everything. So I go back outside. I meet up with my friends, and they tell me that while they were waiting there, they saw a lady who couldn't bring her purse into the embassy get her purse stolen. So it was a big purse. It had all their money that they were going to bring to the U.S. It had well, I don't think their passports because they were probably inside with those, but it had their IDs, an iPhone 10, and a Samsung S8, all in their purse, and it got stolen. So they were just standing there not knowing what to do and crying, which I'm sure I would be too, and that happened. So anyway, we're waiting there. Not very long, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes. And then I see Stephanie and I'm like, hey, so meet her, give it to her. And she's so thankful. And then we go and she's like, okay, I'm going to subscribe and all that kind of stuff. So, hi, Stephanie, if you're watching the video. Anyway, then we decide, okay, because the other part of the day was going to be, we're going to walk to Automercado, which is it's a grocery store that has American foods that you can't find elsewhere, like blue cheese. That's my source for my blue cheese. It's from Wisconsin, and it's Crystal Farms. It's good blue cheese. And I thought, okay, we'll walk there because it's by the bus depot because we're going to take the bus home, so I didn't have to pay for the driver to wait for us this whole time. And so it's by the bus depot, and we'll figure out how to get there after the appointment. So I looked on Waze, and they said that it was going to be, I don't know, like 1 point some kilometers. It was maybe a mile. I don't even think it was a mile away. And we walk. We used Waze, and it told us that the Automercado would be right there, but really it's just an office building. So now we asked somebody in a truck, and we have to walk. So we're walking. And the reason, okay, so we're going to Automercado, which is the supermarket that has a lot of American foods, and if I could get some coffee creamer, I would be so happy. And they already sell blue cheese from Wisconsin. And the other reason why we want to go there is because the main bus depot in San Jose is right by that Automercado. So that way we can hop on the bus and get back home. So we're walking through the city, and when we get to where they say it is, it's like a corporate headquarters for Redken and some other, like L'Oreal and places like that. It's not an Automercado. So we asked some guys in a truck, where's Automercado? They're like, that way. So we start walking, and I'm like, all right, no big deal. Well, then we turn the corner. We have some treacherous roads up ahead. Look at that. If I didn't have a broken foot, I wouldn't really care too much, but I don't know that my foot is going to handle this and come out okay on the other side. So it might be time to get a taxi. I don't know. Oh.
It's really...
Really what? Oh, sí.
Muy inclinada.
Sí, sin
Mi
duda.
pie me
Es
duele.
que ella tiene quebrado el piecito.
Sí.
Entonces ya esas cuestas así donde como tiene que doblar el pie le molesta mucho. No porque para ella es aventura esto.
Sí.
We got in and out of Mercado, and now we're walking to the bus, which I think will be, I don't know, maybe a 5 to 10 minute walk, but it's all flat, so I'm okay. So here we are downtown San Jose, and I really like it down here. I am happy. We made it to the bus that'll take us to Naranjo.
Vamos. Bien colocha. Bien colocha. Vamos.
So it is shortly after 1 p.m. We're almost home. We just got off of our second bus, and I wish I could say I could tell you that we got things accomplished, but I don't know. Anyway, after 1 o'clock we left before 5. It's been a long day, and it's not even lunchtime yet.